So let's say your trading strategy, the one that you normally use 98, 99% of the time, you're good at being profitable with it consistently, just as long as you are patiently waiting for those setups. Okay. Let's say we get into a period to where it's just not working for you. Okay. Supply and demand. We're waiting for the market to pull back to our zones. Okay. And it never pulls back. It just keeps pushing higher, pushing higher. It pulls back, but not to the zone. All right. So it's just breaking structure to the upside, making higher highs and higher lows. Okay. Or making lower lows and lower highs. Okay. And we don't get any pullbacks. That's I know it's the story of our lifetime. When we talk about the last few days, last few weeks, the market's been very bullish, right? So moving to the upside. And we have to be very strategic about making sure we get into the right setups and never forcing a trade. Lots of traders have a hard time, putting their hands underneath them, kind of waiting patiently. And that's when they lose money, all right? Okay, maybe you're blowing through evaluation accounts with the prop firms. Maybe you're, making mistakes and you're blowing through some of your own personal capital. Look, if you're doing that, you have to understand that the markets, they're always changing. They are living and breathing just like we are, just not in the physical form, but they are moving. They have their own personality, their own behavior. They're going to do what they want to do. And I want to tell you this right now. As a retail trader to a retail trader, I want to say that we do not control the markets. Understand that. The sooner that you understand that, the better you're going to be, and the sooner you're going to become a profitable trader. And understanding behind the curtains who's making the magical moves. It is the banks or the institutions. So let's say your strategy has not worked for some time, hasn't worked for a whole week. You are unable to take a solid entry because it's not pulling back to a key zone, right? So that's when we have to use that 1% or 2% strategy, that we put away in the closet for a rainy day. All right. For me, I like to take or look for liquidity graph setups. Okay. And I've talked about liquidity, sweeps on this channel and the videos, multiple videos, and what to look for. It's basically an area, let's say price is pulling back to a key area of demand, right? Okay. It hits the demand zone and breaks right through it. Now, it doesn't close below the zone, meaning it closes below the swing. It closes, it wicks right below it, and then does what? Boom, pushes up to the upside. That's a liquidity sweep. What that means is that the banks are trying to stop traders out along the way before they make a move, meaning they were definitely interested in pursuing with loads of interest, the upside potential, okay? But they want to collect liquidity. That's pretty much their end all game, is stopping traders out, either buy stops or sell stops to collect liquidity. They want to, fake traders out to the best of their ability, okay? Understand how that works. I guess the best analogy I could possibly use is, you understand the game Pac-Man and how Pac-Man's going around trying to collect, those little power pellets, as many as possible without getting invaded or eaten by the mysterious ghost. It's the same kind of thing if you think about it. The institutions, the banks, they're looking to stop traders out. They know liquidity is resting right there. They want to, stop traders out, and then they'll position more orders to keep the market moving to the upside, start placing more orders. So, that's how the game works. They too have to make money, and they know about their means of making money is stopping us out as retail traders, okay, within the markets, all right? So they have a strategic game of what they're doing as they are filling orders. It's our goal to understand, look at the charts, to be able to read them, to see where we can basically ride their coattails back to the top or bottom, depending on, the how the market's moving, okay, ultimately. But so what I want to show you is like an example of a liquidity setup that I took today, just off the ES. I touched base on it in the prior video, but you have to come out the box sometimes and use some other means or strategy. Sometimes when the market is not doing what we're used to seeing it do, and what we become so profitable at doing is, trading that one strategy. I talk about trading one strategy, perfecting it, and being consistent with it, right? But that doesn't mean that you can't possibly take interest and understand and learn another strategy, because sometimes, having more I talk about this in videos too. Having more arsenal in the playbook will work out for you, in the end. Okay, you just got to know when to execute it. Okay, if we're going through a solid week and Monday and Tuesday to where the market's not pulling back to any key area of supply or demand, then we got to try something else. We got to be strategic. Playing that game of that game, that football, basketball, whatever it is, we got to outthink and outbeat the opponent. Okay, in all means. So I want to show you basically, if you don't understand a liquidity sweep or liquidity grab, let's talk about that now. So here is the ES futures. Okay, here's an example, and I just wanted to show you this, what to look for. Again, liquidity sweeps happen when the market sweeps where we may have been interested at a supply or demand zone, and it sweeps right below that zone slightly, and then takes back off to fulfill or moves back up to can make a new high. It could test a level above or below. It just depends. But you have to be able to You have to be able to be mindful of as price action, as the market is moving, paying attention to price action. Okay, so right here the market was moving to the upside, making higher highs and higher lows. Okay, and so what happened was, as it was making higher highs and higher lows, this is into today's session, I noticed the market started, basically pulling back, retracing, okay? Because that's all it is doing, all right? Because it's been to the upside, all right? But what I noticed there was a zone here, a small little demand zone right there, okay? And typically speaking, all these other areas below that we could have maybe possibly looked at were all, filled, meaning there was no gap there. And part of my trading includes, I like to see, and part of the strategy when it comes to supply and demand is a gap back at either a demand or supply zone. We didn't have that. The only place I saw an actual gap was right here, okay? So I waited for the market to pull back there, just trying to capitalize maybe on a ride back up to the upside, okay? But I also had to be mindful of what took place here as the market wasn't folding back to the downside, okay? It made a high, higher low, and a higher high here before breaking structure back to the downside, breaking through a small little area of structure right here below 4,400 and a half. Okay, this was a small little area of demand. I'm not looking for anything great to kick off, but this is just an example to show you of what a liquidity grab or liquidity sweep looks like. Okay, so look, okay, right below here is an area of liquidity. Okay, right below this area. This is an area of demand right here, but price breaks deep into the demand zone, right? And it actually moves even lower. The market does. It clears right below here at 43.95 and a half. When it clears below that, just by a few ticks, that's what's called a liquidity sweep. They're capturing liquidity before deciding to make the next move, all right? But be mindful with price action as it was moving lower, retracing or tapping into the zone, that we have, resistance right above. So my area of interest was basically, and I mentioned this in the last video, if this is going to be a liquidity sweep, I'm looking for the market to close above, okay, and just basically take it back up to fill the gaps, the gaps in between on the ride back to the upside. Now, I know in looking at price action, what took place right here, that it's more likely it's not going to run to the upside here, but I'm interested in at least filling those gaps, okay? And if you watch the video prior to today, the one I posted earlier today, you'll see that where I took the trade back up to, I was aiming for this area right here. There's a gap, actually, I'm sorry about that, right here around 44.02. No, and I think I got in around 98 and a half, somewhere like that at the break. After this candle closed to the upside here, after grabbing this area of liquidity, I knew this was a liquidity sweep. Why? I talk about this in videos too. When the market comes down, you're always going to see a tail or a wick of a candle that's going to break right below. When it flips back to the upside, I'm looking for a short grab, moving back up to fill in those gaps. And that's what I did in capturing. I think it was like 3 points I collected there. I knew what was going on right here. I knew it wasn't going to be a overall a big run to the upside. I knew it was going to be a short lived trade. So I was aiming for those 3 points to pick them up, and I got them, okay? So anyways, that is what a liquidity sweep is and actually how it works. Again, you got to pull some different things out when the market is not, especially when it's moving sideways. So that's what I'll tend to do if I can't get into or see solid supply and demand setups. I'm aiming for liquidity setups, okay? And that was a prime example of one. Now, there are, you'll find them. They'll happen on the charts. Most times they'll happen during, the opening session or within the first hour of the market opening. And you can see here what happened. This was a half an hour after the market, a little bit more than a half an hour after the market opened. There was a setup right there, liquidity grab. So, I went ahead and I saw that taking place and I got into it. So but anyways, just be safe about taking those. Know what you're looking for. And yeah, I mean, they're good moves to take too. They're good setups to take. I talk about, like I said in videos before, so look for those liquidity setups, those liquidity grabs, and take them, when you see them unfold, okay? All right. But anyways, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to close the video out. I appreciate every one of you guys who are currently engaged in the Discord community. If you're interested in joining the Discord, find the link down in the description portion of the video. If you aren't a current subscriber, what are you waiting for? Please take the time to go ahead and sub to the channel by clicking on the subscribe button down below. Make sure to click on the bell, turn on all your post notifications so you never miss one of the uploads, or to ensure that you never miss one of the uploads. And do me the biggest favor and drop a like on the video if you found value in the content of this video, okay? Especially covering liquidity sweeps, okay? Because they do work. You just got to know when and how to take them. Take care. I'll see everyone in the next video.